Welcome everyone. We'll talk about the project performance evaluation in this video. Essentially, this will be a very short videos for you, and I want all the audience of this particular videos to rerun this video time and again. Why? Because this is an evaluation matrix that I will be putting up on your screen. So go slow with the video. Probably the video will be small. It might be 10 minutes, 12 minutes videos at best case scenario. But I want my audience to have a rerun and rerun to understand all the metrics. If required, please take the screenshot one by one. This video will be full of charts per se. Now this is what in front of your screen is a baseline Gantt chart. Now Gantt chart is nothing but gives you allocation of time and activities. Each of these things, if we let me check my markers around it, each of these screens are activities which starts at A, and then probably only after activity this A completes can we start two activities simultaneously. Remember B and C that goes around with it, and this tells me the amount of days, amount of time, amount of hours that an activity is required to continue. You look at it, B finishes off, but C continues to go on upon it. And then there are extra things that might not be useful, but it is always recommended that you do an extra thing for an activities for C and similarly for E. If you look, the moment the activity B finishes, we can start with an activity D per se. So what am I looking into it? These are my scheduled duration and actual completed. Now this is my pre-project assumption, and this is exactly my post-project understanding actually what happened. So if there are any slack, and this the empty line would be your slacks that comes around here, probably things needs to be taken into places. If there are any slacks, what goes around it? So what are we looking out here? We are doing a wonderful project which has, let's say, 15 months, 15 weeks, 15 days project because it's been slotted into 15. My essential understanding during my planning phases is I will take 2 days in my hand, 2 months in my hand, 2 weeks in my hand, and try to finish it on the 13th day, 13th week, 13th month, probably. It's a 15 day, 15 period project. What actually happens, you look at it, if you plan it around it, actually it went on till 14th week, 14th day or 14th month. So still we have completed the project on time. Given the fact that there was slack that we did build upon it, we were not able to maintain it, and there is what went wrong. This is where probably, and what went wrong need not be a human error. It can be a financial issues. It can be a temporarily supply chain issues. The requisite input might not have come in. So this is how a baseline Gantt chart will be working around it. So project schedule chart, if we go around it, and how do we think about on an x-axis is the period, as I've said it to you. On the y-axis is the time period of the work that goes around. Look, what we have done out here is where the project is actually working around, and then there is a slump. Why this slump? Because there might be some issues, there might be maintenance issues, there might be a breakdown issues before it actually picks up and actually completes this as we are on today. And probably if we this slump because of this maintenance issue was behind schedule, but if it is above it, probably on the zero target basis is we are ahead of the schedule. We might finish it on 13th day, 12th day, 11th day. Now what am I doing it is giving you an exact project schedule control chart, whether which will reflect whether the project is on time or not. Project management information system overviews a simple basis. Now we have an OBS or organization based structures and WBS or work breakdown structure, the scope variables that goes around it. If you look into it, organization based structures would be having the hierarchy that goes around it. Might be the director, the project manager, the project director, the assistant manager, the assistant manager. They have their own work line. Similarly, for work breakdown structures, the overall goal, probably the project, the objective that comes around it, and the deliverables, activities, output. So we are, what are we looking into it? We are looking at databases, work packages, time, resources, labor, materials, support efforts. We talk about budgets, we talk about responsibilities, performance standards. We are talking about plan, schedule, baseline, time, cost, specification, and by deliverables as the organization comes around. Baseline data relationship, we have WBS, we have time phase dollar schedule for network schedule, cumulative baseline, time issues, as the case might be, as on when on basis. Now, exercise is what we are trying to do around here. Look, we started for your work breakdown structures as on when on basis. Now, if you look it into it, status at the end of the period 5, actuals and earned values by point, and this is nothing but reflective of the amount of work that has been done, or probably the cost of the amount of work that is required to be completed. It might translate into cost, it might translate into unit of time, as the case might be. Now this is an exercise which will give you actually what has been done, this completed, actual or earned, or this which is revised yet to complete. It might translate into time, it might translate into manpower, it might translate into finances thereby, and that is what we are looking forward to. Exercise, another exercise is a cost summary sheets. Now what are here, what we are looking is the budgeted cost work plan. What was my budget out here and actual cost plan? If there are any differences, are we overshot the budget, are we within the budget, that will be reflected out here absolutely for each of the activities that comes around it. Now on the similar things, on the total cost of completion, original what was the budgeted cost worker structure, and the latest expected actuals, as we are looking into it, cost underrun or overrun. And this might give me, if we can plot it on the graph, it can, you will see this gets reflected. What was my budgeted? What was my reflected? So there will be two lines. One for budgeted cost work plan, and the actual cost work plan. So there will be two graphs which might crisscross or might be identical or might vary a little bit if you plot it otherwise, as has been scheduled out here in the case for you to understand. If you look, the budgeted cost work plan was something like this, but baseline, we had already expected that this would be my baseline, or this was my expected. I had planned for this. I had discussed this as an earned value. If you can do it within this budget, you will be actually earning some profitability, as in lowering down your cost automatically suggests that you are increasing your profitability. But what happens, it escalates, the cost escalates. And if you look into it, the cost escalates at the initial part, and probably it comes around somewhere down the corner. So we have this, what we goes around is the schedule and the expected actual cost, the baseline cost, as the case might be. Let us go to the earned value review exercises. If we look out here, where we are talking what has been done and what has not been done. If you look into it in terms of dollar, the budgeted cost work plan and the budgeted cost work plan and work structures which goes around it. So if you have the sales value is negative or the cost value is negative, how can we exaggerate? See, budget cost plan went on and on, and if you can do it within time, the sales value becomes positive, but the cost value becomes negative. But if it is actual cost is below the budget cost, everything becomes positive. Remember, actual cost is higher than the budget cost. Actual cost is higher than the budget cost. Actual cost is absolutely lower than the budget cost. The sales value is negative and cost value is positive. Now, this is the win-win situation that goes around here. Absolutely, yes. The only thing with sales value being negative is we were overestimating, or being overprotective, being cash rich kind of scenarios. So hypothetical work organization structures, we have project which might cost us this, probably deliverables X, deliverable Y, and deliverable Z. In terms of organization, which all team or let's say department works around it, and how do the goes around. So this is what a reflection of how it will be mapped in the budget thereby. Project network plan as a something very similar. Project evaluation review technique. If we look into EST is early start time, latest start, realistic, optimistic start time, earliest start time, optimistic start time, and pessimistic. The latest start time would be at the third day or third point of it, if we look into it. Similarly, what comes around with this project network. So if we have to achieve then objectives, the legend will be, what are these legend? Legends are the activities that we have got. Earlier start time, the latest start time as said, there if there is any slack, if there is some delay, D for delay, if there's an identification issue that goes around it, earliest finish slack time, latest finish time, as the case might be, if we look into it and how does it goes around it. So you can go this path, probably you can go this path, you can go this particular path, and so on and so forth as the case might be. And this is basically nothing but PERT, P, Program Evaluation Review Technique, or CPM, the critical path method which goes around it. So project baseline budget as the case might be, if you look into it, what is my earliest start time, the latest finish time, the total finish time, what is my budgeted cost work down structure, what is my baseline project. This is what we goes around with the help of team, the budgeted cost and the cumulative budgeted cost that goes around. If you want to go around it, remember 2 plus 2 becomes 4, 2 plus 4 becomes 6, 2 plus 6 is what we are looking for it. Sorry, uh, 2 plus 2 becomes 4, 4 plus 2 becomes 6, 6 plus 4 plus 10 plus 6 plus 8, that's 28 plus 6 becomes 34, 34 plus this, which is 28, becomes 64, 62. This is nothing but a cumulative of what which is happening around here. Individual cost time that goes around here, probably we are adding it up, and that is what project baseline for budget is all about it, and that is what will be reflected even in your updated status budget. Status budget is complete on a work plan, on a work stage, on a duration basis. How does it comes around here? Actual and earned values by period. What tells you how it goes around here? What are we looking into it? The actual cost work plans. Are we doing anything? Are we not doing anything? What happens? How does it goes around it? Cost variances, schedule variances. If we look here, we will understand if there are any variances, what went wrong, and how can it be curtailed, or where we need to put our focus as far as it. So we'll actual cost work plans and then cumulative cost work plans. Now, what was this and what was my budgeted cost work plans would be going around it. If there are any differences, the cost variances and the schedule variances, as the case might be, which is positive or negative, as the case comes around it. So cost and schedule graph. Did I say this? There will be two graphs or two lines, trend lines that will be crisscross crossing each other's, and every time there's a cross, you will see the revised cost estimate has to be revised every night up. These are my budgeted actual cost, and these are my actual cost as such that comes around here. So budgeted cost work structures and actual cost work structures which goes around, probably we will have to tweak it so that exactly the actual work plan goes in tune with one another. So the summary report, every other organization has their own way of understanding the summary, but probably the most easiest of them and most legible for you to understand is something that is BCWP, budgeted cost work plans, and the actual cost work plan. Are there any underrun or overrun? If there are any positive and negative, if you see it cumulatively, it becomes a little bit overruns. And why so? So estimated cost plan at completion, if we want to go at each activity based, probably the latest cost revised, and the cost overrun as as per se. If there's something called negative, probably yes, there's a lot of negative. So we are making a positive contributions to the company's bottom line in this particular scenario. So work performed till date is in excess, but work performed within the cost is completely as per schedule. Project roll up by deliverables, organizations, everything changes. Absolutely. Did I say about the organizational breakdown structures as this thing? we have the schedule variances and the cost variances that comes around it. If we look into it, what is happening, who is contributing, this can be planned, plotted all together in this particular matrices vis-a-vis organization or the project, vis-a-vis vendors and the project, and so on so forth that comes around here. Scope of changes to baseline and how do we go around it. The original baseline today, new baseline, a cost has increased, new baseline that comes around here. If you look at the original baseline was this, probably yes, but suddenly there is an escalation of the cost, probably things have been revised. If there's an escalation, we have this particular new baseline, but if there things falls down, the cost of procurement material of raw material falls down, probably then the new baseline becomes this. So increase the, in case the price goes up, this is the new baseline. In case the price goes down, this is the new baseline, as the case might be. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the end.